This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the LCTV News. I'm Danny Vittori, and be prepared for subjects ranging from community honors, cultural celebrations, and a look back on how far we've come and how far we have yet to go. But I'll let the stories tell you more, so here is the news for Friday, June 13th, 2025. Final Fridays are back, and they kicked off the 2025 season in style with Spoken Soul. Artists expressed themselves through singing, rap, and spoken word to an enthusiastic audience. In addition, those in attendance were treated to free food and works from several local vendors around Frederick Douglass Park.
I say final, you say Friday's final.
Friday!
Final.
Friday! So with that being said, we about to get crazy out here.
I guess another bridge I'm smoking on for the week. Wash away the fake, wash away the jealousy. Try to stick around, but it's just not for me. Show me who's down, who's showing up for me. Tell me what would you do? Yeah, tell me what would you do?
Final Fridays is a summer series here run at the Lynn Museum where we celebrate different forms of art every month. Tonight we are doing Final Friday Spoken Soul, where we are celebrating the art of music and performance. We have a lot of really dope performances tonight.
Like little therapist, I wish I had your resilience. You give me confidence just the way that you exist.
We also have a bracelet making activity. We have free food. We have mocktails. We're just doing the best we can to activate downtown Lynn and try to get as many young creatives and the next generation of artists out here as possible.
Before love breaks my
Next month, we'll be hosting Final Fridays Fashion Week. We'll be hosting a fashion show right here in Frederick Douglass Park. In July, we'll be doing Graffiti Get Down, having a live art battle, and to finish off the summer, we'll have Rhythm Royale in August, where we'll have a bunch of dancers competing for $500.
tighter than you have before. But you know it's gonna take everything to stop me walking out that door.
United Lynn Pride won the Albert B. Corey Award for their documentary Through a Rainbow Lens, a reflection on Lynn's LGBTQ+ history. This award is part of the American Association for State and Local Leadership in History Awards and is the most prestigious recognition for achievement in the preservation of state and local history. Every year, the AASLH recognizes one primarily volunteer-run organization that best showcases vigor, scholarship, and imagination. The honor also includes a $500 award for the group. The documentary itself was supported by a Mass Humanities grant, and features 32 recorded oral histories, 1,400 images from 42 contributors, and news stories from the Boston Globe, Lynn Item, and Gay Community News. The goal of this documentary, according to project director Jim Moser, was to capture the joys, challenges, and stories of Lynn's LGBTQ population over the last 50 years. Quote, "It is a tremendous honor to be the only group in the country to be awarded with the most prestigious recognition for achievement in the preservation of state and local history. I thank the project team, Christian Racinos, Professor Drew Darian, and retired Professor Pat Gonzamba for their amazing work, and that work merits broader recognition," end quote. Beyond Walls was bursting with more than 120 guests for their inaugural Beyond Walls Live fundraiser on June 7th. There was a panel discussion and Q&A with 4 local artists to kick off the night, followed by live painting, a print sale, and a headline performance by Village Revival Band. All proceeds raised will go towards the Classrooms to the Streets initiative, a program developed by Beyond Walls in collaboration with Lynn Public Schools and St. Mary's. Through this initiative, art teachers can participate in fellowships, where they are paired with a professional artist and earn professional development credits for their participation. As teams, they design murals, develop lesson plans, and organize tours so K-12 students can observe the artwork and connect it back to the lessons they learn in the classroom. In 2024, 13 high school juniors worked with 12 educators and 5 professional artists on a 2-week mural installation. To date, more than $30,000 have been raised through events such as Beyond Walls Live for this program. City Hall was in celebration mode with the Portugal flag raising the evening of the 10th. This worldwide holiday recognizes all that Portuguese Americans have contributed to our community.
I stand here today with you and my daughter to celebrate Lynn's first Portugal Flag Day raising ceremony.
It is quite an honor. We're so glad to be able to celebrate this important day to raise the Portuguese flag and to celebrate the contributions of the Portuguese community right here in the city of Lynn. We are so proud of the diversity that we have here in the city of Lynn. We want to celebrate, and in order to do that, we often rely on leaders in our community to be able to step forward and share their traditions, their holidays, their legacies. We're grateful for it because by you sharing it with us, it really becomes cemented as part of the Lynn story and the Lynn legacy and the Lynn culture.
Portugal Day is celebrated yearly on June 10th in honor and memory of the famous Portuguese poet Luís de Camões. His birth date is unknown, so his death date is the date they celebrate. He died on June 10th, 1580. Luís was born in Lisbon and has been named the great national poet and a literary icon. His works have been compared to those of Shakespeare, Virgil, and Homer. He wrote many pieces, but his most famous was an epic poem titled Os Lusíadas, or the Lusíadas. This translates to the Portuguese, which comes from the ancient Roman word for Portugal, Lusitania. It celebrates Vasco da Gama's historic voyage to India and the achievements of Portugal during a time of maritime exploration. On Portugal Day, Portuguese communities across the world celebrate their heritage, culture, and legacy of this national hero. We thank you for coming together on this day to help us share our culture and our pride in our Portuguese heritage. Thank you so much for being here.
Graduates and family members alike packed the City Hall chambers for the Escuela Latina graduation ceremony the afternoon of the 10th. 75 Latina mothers and immigrants were honored for their completion of one or more of 7 programs: Basic and Intermediate ESL, Home Health Aid, Basic Nails, Basic Computer Skills, Citizenship, and Parenting classes, and a pairing of education and family Free ESL classes were offered, alongside a children's book club held in the room right next door. Therefore, mothers were able to study and increase their academic success, while their children engaged in literary activities. As stated by the director of Escuela Latina, Magali Torres-Rowe, quote, "These remarkable individuals, immigrant workers, have dedicated themselves to studying these courses to improve their lives and secure better job opportunities. Their efforts contribute to making our country stronger and more vibrant," end quote. Congratulations again to all the graduates. The Lynnway Multimodal Project is in the first stages of the design process. Therefore, the MUTA, City of Lynn, and DCR held an open house the night of the 11th to receive feedback from residents. This included asking attendees what their biggest priorities are and what they wish to see in this upgrade. According to the MBTA, the Lynnway currently serves 8,500 drivers a day and an additional 3,000 bus riders. So these improvements will improve transportation time and safety for more than 70,000 riders per week. The collective vision for the redesign is focused on 3 broad elements: safety improvements for pedestrians, cyclists, and riders, infrastructure for faster, more reliable bus connections, and safer, more convenient access to the waterfront, parks, and businesses. DCR owns the Lynnway, but the MBTA will have the decision-making power in this $20 million project, made possible by Rebuilding America's Infrastructure grant funding. The online survey is open until mid-July, and the hope is to have concepts with options for the public to review again at the end of 2025. Hundreds of residents gathered at the Frederick Douglass Bandstand on Lynn Common in peaceful protest for immigrant rights. Attendees held signs such as "No human is illegal," "Immigrants make America great," and "Stop ICE raids in Lynn." Here is more.
We walk
para hacerle saber a esta ciudad,
to let the city know,
para unirnos a nosotros
to unite with us
y clamar
and shout
por la gente inmigrante.
for the immigrant people.
Era ICE que me tenía rodeado.
It was ICE that had surrounded me.
Tenía rodeado mi van.
They surrounded my van.
Y el oficial me dice, "You don't have ID?"
And the official says to me, "You don't have an ID?"
Yo le dije, "Yes, sir, I have ID. I have ID in my wallet."
Yo le dije, "Sí, lo tengo, aquí está en mi cartera."
Cartera.
I just got up a little to reach for my wallet.
Y él dice que yo tenía una pistola, gun.
He says, gun.
Tras de que me tiraron, me cayeron como, no estoy seguro cuánto, pero como 6, 7 personas.
They threw me onto the ground, and I'm not sure exactly how, but it felt about 6 people got on top of me.
Me pegó en mi nariz así duro.
One of them hit my nose really hard.
Me rompió la nariz y yo tenía sangre por todos lados.
He broke my nose and blood spilled.
Me llevaron hasta el fondo arriba, hasta el fondo, a lo más oscuro que hay arriba.
They took me to the highest point, the deepest point of the cemetery.
Y ellos cuando llegaron ahí se parquearon, se quitaron sus chalecos que andan, donde ellos graban, todo, se lo quitaron.
So they parked their car, they took their vest off, their vest that have cameras.
Y uno de los oficiales me pateaba, me ponía el pie aquí.
One of the officials would step on me, would put his foot on my neck.
Me decía que si me gustaba lo que ellos me estaban haciendo.
He asked me if I liked what they were doing to me.
You like it, mother. And el otro oficial le dijo, "What do you say?" "No, the fucking guys have a green card." Esta es la residencia permanente de él. And tenemos un problema grande.
They said we made a mistake, and I want to thank everybody for that video.
Me llevan, me sacan del cementerio y me llevan para Burlington.
And then after that, they took me to Burlington.
Y gracias a Dios, cuando fui, antes de subir a la corte, la abogada tuve una reunión con la abogada.
Before that, I had a meeting with the lawyer.
Y ella me dijo, "No te preocupes."
She said, "Don't worry.
Todo está bien.
Everything is good.
Tú vas con tu familia.
You will go back with your family."
What's happening is wrong. What you're doing here right now, gathering in peace, but in the power of togetherness and the power of what is right.
I belong here. Yo pertenezco aquí. I am not afraid. Yo no tengo miedo.
St. Mary's hosted the 2025 State of the Region, featuring speeches by Lynn Mayor Jared Nicholson, Swampscott's acting town administrator Gino Cresta, town administrator for Nahant Tony Barletta, and Jim Cowdell, the executive director of EDIC Lynn.
When you look at the Lynn's key sectors, industrial, construction, administrative services, we outperform the state of Massachusetts in every one of those sectors, and I'm really proud of that. When you look at industrial and office real estate throughout the country, those are challenging sectors, but here in Lynn, way better than the state, we have very strong occupancy. And the last bullet is just to emphasize that these are challenging times, but I think that we are in a great spot to continue our momentum.
So the station, we're glad to have the temporary station, so the trains are stopping in Lynn, but it's temporary. If you go there, you can tell that that's not built to last. The new station is being designed, is making good progress. We think it's going to be a great addition to the downtown and help complement some of the ways in which we're improving the downtown to make it easier to get around. That's in process. The broader vision for transit for Lynn and for the entire region, and really for the Commonwealth, is the electrification of the commuter rail. The electrification, it's a long process, it's a huge investment, but it's happening. It's happening first on the Fairmont line in Boston in the next couple of years, and we're next, and working with Representative Reed and the rest of the state delegation, we're gonna keep pushing that, and we need the Chamber's help to make sure that we are next.
This state-of-the-art school has replaced the 4 neighborhood elementary schools that had an average year of 91 years old. All these schools are in significant need of additional investments. The former Miss John School was recently converted into 34 units of affordable housing. The Stanley School was demolished and replaced with a new elementary school. The Clark School is now vacant and one day will be used for swing space for future renovations to the Swampscott Middle School. However, in the short term, the school department is considering leasing the building to mitigate costs to their operating budget. And finally, the Hadley School is slated to become a luxury boutique hotel.
In Nahant, we've invested in a lot of equipment, pumps, procedures, so that odds are we're not going to be able to build seawalls to protect the town from the next storm in time. So we need to be investing in stuff that's going to help us respond to that storm when it comes. So we have, since 2018, the storms in 2018, the town experienced $2.4 million worth of storm damage. We had neighborhoods that were underwater for 4 days. We haven't had that since. We've been able to improve our stormwater systems.
For the full state of the region, visit lyntv.org. Last night, June 12th, the school committee voted to approve the FY26 budget during their meeting. They eliminated 6 positions to free up the money to hire 7 clinicians for the Lynn public school system. The positions eliminated were a counselor for the City Arts and Sciences Academy program, an assistant director at MLEDER, a program specialist for the Early Childhood Education program, an assistant director for world languages in the curriculum department, 1 vacant position from the superintendent's page, and a coordinator of private partnerships. According to School Business Administrator Kevin Mahue, this will save just over $624,000 in the budget, of which $612,000 will be reallocated to the 7 clinical positions. The remaining $11,000 will be reassigned to pay substitute teachers. Additionally, the school committee voted to approve 2 teachers' visas for the 2026 school year. They also approved a new contract between the city and teachers. This is the first time in 40 years the city and teachers union have reached a contractual agreement before the existing one expired. Juneteenth and the annual reading of Frederick Douglass's What to the Slave is the 4th of July are only 12 days apart, so it seems fitting to combine their interviews. Nicole McClain was up first, drawing attention to how far we have come and drawing power from our ancestors when pushing for equity for all. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown, and today we welcome back Nicole McClain, the Executive Director and founder of the Juneteenth Association. Thanks so much for coming back on.
Oh, I love being here, Danny. Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the things that Lynn Community Television does to make sure the community is aware of what's going on in the city of Lynn, so I appreciate that.
Of course, said we just promote, but you are always the ones that do all of the work, and I know you wear about 50 different hats, but today we are here talking about Juneteenth, which is in a couple of weeks, right? It's on the 21st.
Do you believe it's June already?
No.
Oh my goodness. Happy Pride. Happy Juneteenth.
Yes. We were even saying before, we hope it doesn't rain again. You know, it's just it's been raining every Saturday, and we're going, no. Because this is outside, right?
It's supposed to be outside at the Common. We do have a rain location. So if it rains, it will be inside at the Lynn Museum, same day. But yeah, if we have inclement weather, we'll be moving it inside. So we'll have food from A Taste of May. We'll have some dance performances. We'll have In the Making, ITM will be there. A group called Power Skirts with their skirts. They performed last year as well. It was a beautiful performance. They'll be there to perform. We'll have some people from the Solidarity Economy Movement. So they'll be talking about what that is and how the city of Lynn and community members can get more involved in the solidarity economy. I think it's going to be a really cool event. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And how many years now has this celebration been going on, do you know?
Since 2017. We had our first Juneteenth celebration in 2017. And so 8 years? 8 years. Yeah. And our very first one was on the Lynn Commons.
Oh, really? So now you're circling back?
Yeah, we're coming back, yes. I think the Lynn Common is a nice place to have an event because just passers-by see what's happening and they might just get curious and come over and check it out. Yeah.
And then I go, ooh, what's that?
Right, what's going on?
Yeah. And it gets bigger every year. It's always so impressive, all the work that you put in and all the volunteers put into it. Yeah. And so we're talking about, it's the 21st, yes?
The 21st of June from 11 to 3. It's not going to be long. I do want to say Juneteenth celebration is happening from 11 to 3, and then there's another event happening at Red Rock Park that the Lynn Music Foundation is having. So that's also going on over there. So after you're done celebrating Juneteenth, which is a holiday that commemorates the ending of enslavement of Black Americans in America, clearly. So we'll have the Juneteenth flag raising on June 17th at the Lynn City Hall at 6:30 p.m. So our Juneteenth flag is red, white, and blue. That just harkens back to that Black Americans are Americans. So, yeah, it's a festive time. It's also a time to think about how far we still have to go as a country, when it comes to justice and equity and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because Juneteenth it's an interesting holiday because it's kind of split. It's like you said, it's a celebration, but it's also a reflection, looking back to see where we've gone to, how far we have to go. I feel like this year might hold extra significance in the how far we have to go, I would guess.
Yes, definitely. With all the turbulence that's going on in our country, we definitely need to hold on to what we've accomplished as far as civil rights goes, and as far as equity goes. I mean, June is a month that really does show equity, with it being Pride, with it being Caribbean Heritage Month, with also Juneteenth season happening. It's like a month of so much culture, you know what I mean, and so much celebration of diversity in so many different ways. So, yeah, we definitely need to make sure we hold on to that as a nation and as a city. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I love June. There's always celebrations everywhere in Lynn, but especially in June, there's so many. And I'll ask, what's for Juneteenth specifically, you highlight, is it BIPOC artists? That's a very big, significant piece of it. Would you be able to speak about who will be coming for that too?
Yeah, definitely. We have some vendors that are coming out. small business owners that'll be selling jewelry, they'll be selling clothing. I know we have Tequila Designs coming out. She sells like all types of dresses and head wraps. And then we have also another vendor that sells like mugs that have cultural awareness messages on them and things like that. So, I mean, it's going to be a really good event, and we have a DJ that is going to be there, making sure everybody has their sound and music, and we have Circus Up coming, a community circus that really is young people that are learning how to be in the circus, and they put on a show, so they're going to be doing that as well. So I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be awesome, and I think all our community members need to come out.
It is. They're always awesome. Whether I go to the events, whether I'm covering or just going, I always have to limit myself and go, okay, you can't go broke at one event.
Right,
you can't buy everything. Even though I want to.
It's true. You do want to. It's awesome. I mean, the people that we have their books will have jewelry, will have food. I mean, we'll have music. So, I mean, it's going to be awesome. Some poetry as well, some spoken word, and a couple of great speakers as well coming out to talk about the solidarity economy. So it's going to be, I mean, I'm happy about it. I'm excited that this is our 8th year having the Juneteenth celebration and acknowledging the Juneteenth holiday in our city. I mean, it means a lot. Yeah.
And I know they'll explain at the event, but you said the solidarity economy, I'll admit I'm not very familiar with that. But you would be able to give like a quick preview of what that is for our audience?
So basically it's how the community can come together and cooperate with small businesses.
Okay.
So instead of having a small business that has always been in the city be sold to another person, maybe the people that are working there could pool their money together and take over that business rather than the owner just selling it. Or maybe it'll be, so it's basically a collaboration of people that want to come together and make something happen as a group rather than just one person owning the business. So it will be like a worker cooperative sort of. So the workers come together and they all pool in their finances and their work ethic, and they all make something happen together as a collaborative. So that's a short way of explaining it. Yeah.
That's an awesome concept, though. Yeah. That's a great idea.
I think it's awesome. I don't know if we have something like that in Lynn, but I know that there's a I want to say a cleaning company that is already successfully doing this. So they have people that are workers, but they're also owners of that cleaning company. So, and they all work together to make sure that they're sharing the wealth and sharing the, you know what I mean, the revenue that comes from it. So, yeah.
And Lynn really does run on small businesses, so it's a very, I feel like it'd be a good concept to introduce here because you walk up and down the street and there's small businesses everywhere, which is fantastic.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, which is awesome. But are they worker owned? You know what I mean? So that's something. And are we collaborating to make sure they're as lucrative as they can be? So that's what we'll learn a little bit about at the Juneteenth celebration. And our theme this year is Echoes of Greatness. So we're talking about things like that, like what our ancestors used to do. They used to do cooperative work like that and look out for each other, and you know what I mean? So that's like a lesson that is now coming back to the forefront. So, that's where the Echoes of Greatness comes from, is like what lessons have we learned from our ancestors that we can implement today. Yeah.
It's always an impactful theme, no matter what year. Yeah. I'm always into it. I'm always loving it. And of course, this is an event open, free to the public, no charge, anything like that.
No charge, that's right. You can come out and enjoy the singing, enjoy the poetry, enjoy the food. Even the food is free, actually. So, but it's first come, first serve. So make sure you're there on time so you can get some food. It's going to be soul food, so we'll have like fried chicken, baked mac and cheese, collard greens. It'll be interesting for people who haven't tried soul food before. So yeah. Make sure you come early so that you can be there for the food.
Yes, you gotta get there. You gotta get first in line.
That's right. If you want the food, it's first come, first serve. Know that.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for it this year. Getting to see it, all the elements that you added. And I know you mentioned, you just mentioned so many, but there's always little surprises too. Always ones like, oh, there's another thing too.
Yeah.
But I know I have to wrap up in a moment. But was there anything else that I hadn't touched upon that you wanted to mention about this event?
No, just to make sure you know what Juneteenth is. Make sure you know why you have the day off on, June 19th, and that it's in honor of those who, bled, sweat, had their rights taken away from them, and, finally found out that their freedom was something that they could take advantage of, so remember that.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on talking about this, especially such an impactful, important event, and I look forward to seeing it in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you so much for having me again, Danny.
Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Danny Vittori. Make sure you check out the Juneteenth event in a couple of weeks. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. St. Mary's beat Leominster 20-13 to capture their second straight state title in flag football. This was the third time in as many years that these teams have met in the title game, with the Spartans holding the advantage, winning 2 of 3. Sophia LaFontaine was named the game MVP, and Kaylee Patterson had 2 touchdowns in the game. The game itself was played at Boston College Alumni Stadium on June 12th. St. Mary's beat Latin Academy in the quarterfinals and Peabody in the semifinals, on their way to becoming champions. 7 games in, and the North Shore Navigators are struggling at 2-5. Last Monday, they could not hold on to a 2-run lead and ended up losing 4-3 to the visiting Danbury Westerners. But they scored 6th in the 7th inning to beat the visiting Stanford Mainers 6-3 on the 11th. DH Sean Scanlon led the Navs, going 3 for 4 with a 2-run single late, while 5 pitchers combined for a 15-strikeout performance for North Shore. Back-to-back series wins, the Red Sox may have finally found something. Most recently, they took 2 of 3 at home against division rival Tampa Bay Rays. In both wins, Boston finally saw both starters go beyond 5 innings, which has been a rare feat for this team. A 3-1 final on the 10th came courtesy of a homer by Trevor Story and 2 RBIs by Roman Anthony in his first MLB start. Jarren Duran hit a leadoff homer to begin the game on the 11th, and the Sox never looked back. Abraham Toro added on another homer, and rookie Marcelo Mayer hit 2 in almost identical places along the pesky pole. Holding on to a 1-run lead, Aroldis Chapman came in for the 9th and mowed down the Rays. Next up on the Lowdown was Wendy Joseph and the July 3rd Frederick Douglass reading. Even after 20 years, his words still hold immense power and relevance in today's culture. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and today we welcome on Wendy Joseph to talk about the Frederick Douglass Speech Reading coming up in a few weeks. I love this event every year, and I'm so glad you came on to talk about it.
Thank you, Danny. Now, I'm excited to just remind the people that this is just on the heels of the North Shore Juneteenth Celebration, which is going to be on the Lynn Common.
Yeah.
So only 12 days later, another North Shore Juneteenth event. Also sponsored by Mass Humanities is our annual Frederick Douglass Community Reading, where we read that Frederick Douglass 1852 speech named "What to the Slave is the 4th of July."
And you do read a condensed version, I'll admit it, because the original speech was, what, 4 hours?
Yes, they used to speak a very, very long time. So Mass Humanities put it down to 45 minutes, which means that 45 people can read 1-minute paragraphs.
And people can sign up, or just on the day of, if they feel like reading, they can come up and
Absolutely.
try it.
There's a sign-up sheet if you go to the North Shore Juneteenth website. I like it when people just show up and just say, yeah, I'll do this for you. I'll come in and speak those words of Frederick Douglass.
Because you said it's so powerful. I haven't done it, but I've watched so many people do it. Like you said, it can be an incredible
It's an
experience.
empowering speech. What I do say to people, especially if they're doing it for the first time, is you are going to feel so smart when you hear those words of Frederick Douglass coming out of your mouth. Oh my gosh, and it stays with you. People say at the end, I want the speech, I want the whole speech, I want to bring it home. And another thing that we were speaking about, Danny, is that this speech is 1852, a full 10 years before the Civil War even began. Frederick Douglass had only gotten his freedom papers 6 years before that.
Wow.
And in the speech, he was challenging the nation to examine the big chasm between the founding fathers and the founding principles and the institution of slavery. And we're still seeing issues where there is a large chasm between what the democratic type of government is supposed to be doing and what's happening to people. So we need to continue to say these words.
Mm-hmm. And you even expanded upon it a little bit, but Douglass, what did he do? Like, what was his, obviously he had a very large impact, but what was some of his history?
Well, some of his history was right in Lynn, as you know. And Frederick Douglass Park here is situated right across the street from the train station where Frederick Douglass famously got thrown off the train in Lynn Station because he didn't want to, he paid a full price ticket, so he didn't want to go into the colored car. He was sitting with a white friend and they literally had to manhandle him off. And then the Boston and Maine president refused to have the train stop in Lynn for about a week. Papers and everyone was all up in arms, so they eventually stopped here again. Frederick Douglass wrote his autobiography, his first autobiography here. He was living up near High Rock Tower. And people kind of forget that he lived in Lynn and he wrote in Lynn. Yeah. The very last page of his first autobiography says, "Yours truly, Frederick Douglass, Lynn, Massachusetts."
So there you go.
Yeah, I think it's pretty great.
And he was definitely, like you said, even ahead of his time a little bit. I mean, he wrote this speech a decade before the Civil War started. Now, obviously, this was still an issue before that, but he was really out in front of it, going for it, and calling out the hypocrisy.
Him and the rest of the abolitionists with William Lloyd Garrison, they would go all across the eastern coast, all the way to the west. As a matter of fact, when Douglass got thrown off the train, he was on his way to a speech event talking to an abolitionist group that was waiting for him. He eventually ended his career, his very long career, living in D.C. He had a beautiful house overlooking the Capitol, which is now a National Historic Site.
And I said, you just actually had a great segue into this next thing, too, is you're going to be adding something this year, a wayfinding sign in the park as well.
This year, it's very special to me because at the very beginning, 11 a.m. at Frederick Douglass Park, we're going to be unveiling a wayfinding sign that is going to be off to the side towards where Lynn Museum is. Mm-hmm. And this sign is a couple of years worth of work and a big collaboration between Barbara Bowles of the DCR, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, who owns this park, Tom Dalton, who wrote Frederick Douglass, The Lynn Years, and Danica Thurston Chavez, the executive director of the Lynn Museum, and myself as the curator of the Grand Army of the Republic. And we expect to have people from the state delegation and the mayor's office having some remarks. So there will be the dramatic unveiling remarks, and then we will get to that Frederick Douglass reading.
Nice. And he said it's a large collaboration. I had you read it because I said I don't want to ever forget anybody, all the collaboration that's coming into it. And then he said, what is the significance of adding this sign here?
It's placemaking, and as you can see from the bas-relief there on the left-hand side of the corner, that is a quote from Frederick Douglass very close to the time right after he got thrown off the train that's underneath him. And the sculptor Reno Pisano, who grew up in the Highlands in Lynn, made sure that this was part of his presentation. And this was the last piece that he did before he passed away.
Oh, wow. So even more significance.
It is, it is.
And now, we've mentioned it a little bit, but the speech reading is on July 3rd at 11 a.m., is that correct?
Yes. Thursday, July 3rd at 11 a.m. at Frederick Douglass Park, 1 to 15 Exchange Street. I usually just say right next to the Lynn Museum.
Yeah. And the very large mural helps as a way to find it as well.
Yes, this beautiful mural that was up there far before the Frederick Douglass Park was created, created by Yeti Frankel back in the day, and that was a big community project as well.
And how many years have you been doing the reading? I'm curious.
I think it's close to 20 years.
Wow.
Lynn was one of the first people to do this program that Mass Humanities was just creating. And if people will remember, it began up at High Rock Tower, where the Hutchinson family, who knew Frederick Douglass, lived. Frederick Douglass was up there at High Rock Tower, so I thought it was a good place. But once we got the Frederick Douglass Park, we knew that it had to go there.
Well, yeah, of course, it has to go there. And it doesn't lose its impact, doesn't lose its meaning. Anyone who might think, so you do it every year, but I go, no, it almost gets more every single year.
It does, because every single year I do say, and it's crazy that it becomes even more important each year. He was fighting for the same things that we need to fight now.
Right. Exactly. And I will ask, do you yourself read usually, or are you more allowing other people?
I'm the coordinator. Sometimes things are happening fast and furious. We have up to 4 mics there, so people come and fill in. It's a very fun exercise that helps keep the energy up.
Yeah, I remember I went to cover it last year, and there was a point where I went, oh wait, I have to be filming this, because I was standing there just watching it, and then I went, oh wait, I have a job.
That's what happens when you're listening to those words of Frederick Douglass. The things that he says, people hearing it upon the first time are a little shocked.
A little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very powerful, and I'm happy to do it each year.
Yes, and anyone can show up, free, open event for anyone? So
free open event, come watch the Politicos at 11 a.m., see the new sign, and then get in line to read 1 paragraph. Takes 1 minute of your time.
1 minute, but it's so impactful. And I know I've probably been a moment, but was there anything else I hadn't mentioned that you wanted to touch upon?
I think we did it. Come to Frederick Douglass Park, July 3rd, 11 a.m.
Awesome, we nailed it. And again, thank you so much, Wendy, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Danny.
Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Danny Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Join the North Shore Juneteenth Association for the 2025 Juneteenth flag raising on Tuesday, June 17th at 6:30 p.m. Come enjoy poetry, music, guest speakers, and more as they raise the Juneteenth flag, commemorating the freedom of Black Americans and symbolizing contributions of Black Americans to the community. Saturday the 21st will be packed with events, beginning at 10 a.m. and running all the way until 8 at night. One such event is the Lynn Music Foundation's Lynn Music Festival. Taking place at Red Rock Park from 1 to 8 p.m., this free, family-friendly event brings together artists representing a range of musical genres. Come enjoy vendor booths, dance to the music, and enjoy the cultures and musical range that makes Lynn so special and unique. Follow this up with the Lynn Summer Kickoff, hosted by Mayor Nicholson's office, Community Development, and EDIC. From 2 to 6 p.m., head to Manning Field to enjoy free face painting, games, music, an obstacle course, city resource tables, and performances. There will also be free hot dogs and slushies while supplies last. Celebrate summer with the community at this fun-filled event. Want more? Be sure to visit lyntv.org to watch all episodes of the LCTV News, along with government programming and member shows. For the latest announcements and developments in the city, follow us on social media at Lynn Community TV. If you're only interested in videos, from event coverage to PSAs, then Lynn Community Television on YouTube is the place for you. But for now, this has been the LCTV News. I'm Danny Vittori, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.